Hey everyone, Sam here, otherwise known as FPL Pricey, and with the quick turnaround to Tuesday for the next deadline, I wanted to run through my early transfer plans ahead of Game Week 14. Welcome back everyone to another video. Now, I'd normally start off my transfer plans video with a quick summary of how my Game Week 13 side got on, but because of the tight turnaround, I hope you'll appreciate that I'm recording it on Saturday to give you as much time to watch this as possible. It's fairly early in the game week. Foden has just bagged a brace. Thiago bagged a brace for me, which was really helpful. I'm not on free hit, but I am on a marginal green arrow at the moment, even after the Man City game, up to 320-ish K. I do expect that to maybe get a little bit worse with Aston Villa and Liverpool to play tomorrow. But equally, I've got Arsenal, Crystal Palace, a bit of Man United too. So things could swing my way tomorrow as well. Either way, I suppose, survived City, and obviously really unlucky for anyone who triple captained Haaland, blanked, and I do think that is really quite unfortunate considering it was such a good fixture, and I would have absolutely done the same thing in your position if I had the chip left to play. Now, I also just wanted to say a very quick thank you to all of you who have subscribed over the last 2.5 years. I've just hit 5,000 subscribers, so thank you all so much. It really does mean the world to me, and if you haven't subscribed yet, I would also still really appreciate it if you could hit that button. And of course, hitting like as well would be greatly appreciated as well. Let's take a look first and foremost at my team as it's currently set up going into Game Week 14. A couple of flags have appeared in the last few hours, which is a bit frustrating, especially because I've only got one free transfer to use. Of course, we get the 5 free transfers in a couple of game weeks, so I'm not going to panic, and I'm just going to try and survive, I suppose, the next couple of game weeks without taking hits, if at all possible. And I've intentionally picked a lot of players that are very good on the underlying minutes week to week. So if lightning strikes and a couple of players get suspended or rotated or injured, even if they've got bad fixtures, I can bring them off the bench. So to summarize, so far, and it could get worse, I could get more flags in the next 24 hours, but Pope has missed out on the matchday squad against Everton. That game is going on in the background whilst I'm recording right now. Don't know the result of that, but he's pulled up with an injury in training. A lot of Newcastle fans were also calling for him to get dropped for Aaron Ramsdale, but let's see how Ramsdale does. And let's also wait and see whether we get any extra news on Nick Pope and whether or not he might be back in the next couple of game weeks. Of course, there's only a couple of days between now and the next deadline, so it seems relatively unlikely that he'll play against Spurs, but if he does, I will probably hold on to him. And either way, Dubravka off my bench against Crystal Palace, not a great fixture, but it's still a playing goalkeeper, and that's why I've got Dubravka at the end of the day. So if he has to come on for Pope because he's going to be an issue for another couple of game weeks, that could save me a transfer. And considering I've got problems in my starting 11 or in my outfielders in my starting 11, I think Dubravka I can probably make do. It would be ideal if Pope could be back for that Burnley game in Game Week 15, though, I won't lie. That would be really big for me if that was the case. But I'm not holding out too much hope given the tight turnaround for the next 2 deadlines. Into my defence, I was actually really well set up this week, and I felt really positive about my Game Week 14 side. A lot of really solid expected minutes on all of these players. And then SENESI went and picked up a 91st minute yellow card, giving him 5 for the season. And of course, now he will be suspended for Everton at home. That might not be the worst thing. It might be a bit of a blessing in disguise because SENESI, to be completely honest, has been a bit rubbish for me ever since I wildcarded him in back in Game Week 8. I don't think they've kept a clean sheet in that time. I think he's got a couple of defcons, 1 assist, but we're looking at 2 and 3 pointers most weeks. Maybe it is the right time to just get rid of him. I was looking forward to playing him at home against Everton, and he would have absolutely been in my starting 11. But this might be an opportunity to get rid of him. Timber and Lacroix haven't played yet this game week, so let's wait and see how they do. Hopefully they don't get injured or anything like that, but at time of recording, I'm very happy with both of them. Burnley away for Crystal Palace, so Lacroix's a good bet, and then Timber at home against Brentford. There's a possibility he gets rotated, I won't lie. Obviously, he is a player that's been getting 90 minutes consistently, but Ben White does exist. And if he was ever going to get rotated, it probably would be in Game Week 14 because of the tight turnaround. But I still think there's a reasonably good chance of him starting. And if he doesn't, I do have currently at least 2 90-minute men on my bench who are both reasonable on DEFCON with home fixtures. Not good home fixtures, it must be said. Anderson at home to Man City, Rodon at home to Chelsea. Really, truly not ideal. But if as long as they're playing, maybe they'll pick up DEFCON, and a 2 or a 3-pointer from either of them, probably not worth a hit for me to maximize those positions if they're going to be on my bench anyway. But of course, SENESI is the big problem, and I will need to make a defensive move this week. You would have thought anyway, just to solidify that back three, maybe even a back four if I wanted to bench Thiago, who currently is starting away at Arsenal. Now, again, too early to tell for sure, but he did go off in the 91st, 92nd minute after bagging a brace and obviously getting those 3 bonus points. Excellent performance from him yet again. But he did go off towards the end of the game, and SofaScore, which I do use, put it down as an injury substitution. So I'm keeping an eye on that one. Hopefully it's nothing, and hopefully I've got nothing to be concerned about, but I will keep an eye on it. And if that's an issue, then I really am quite stretched with my starting 11 and, of course, my bench options. So I might have to rely on Rodon or Anderson as well. In my midfield, I think that's the strongest part of this 11 at the moment. Really happy with all of them. Although, to be fair, Semenyo is dodging points like crazy right now. Got a yellow card as well, a bit like Senesi. Put up, I think, 0.5 XA. I think there was a goal ruled out that he was involved in as well. So again, a little bit unlucky. I'm not excited about owning him particularly for the long term anymore, because he just continues to tease me. But probably one that I can hold on to for now, given that I've got other issues and only one free transfer. Same goes for Sarr. Hopefully he does something against Man United tomorrow, but of course I don't know that at time of recording. As long as he gets through it unscathed, I'm happy to own him for Burnley. And then I'm probably looking at getting rid of him in game week 15 before he goes off to AFCON. And my replacement at time of recording would probably be Yankuba Minter. Fernandes, Anderson, Saka. I mean, Fernandes and Saka are arguably captaincy options, considering Haaland's away at Fulham. So West Ham at home for Fernandes. Again, let's wait and see how he gets on against Palace. And then Saka at home to Brentford as well. Again, I can never guarantee players like him are going to absolutely play in the midweek when they've got that tight turnaround. And I am maybe a little bit worried. But if I start trying to overthink those kind of things, then I'm going to tie myself up in knots, I suppose, and start selling players that are usually going to get very good minutes, good underlying data. He's been pretty good on DEFCON. So basically, I'm just not going to get rid of him. So the issue is undoubtedly in my back line. And if I'm sneaky about it, if I can work out a way, then maybe I can also bench Thiago away at Arsenal and start one of my other defenders as well. So go with a back four, five-man midfield, one up top. But I do need to make a defensive move, and I'm probably going to have to make peace with Pope being a massive doubt going into game week 14, maybe even game week 15, and just starting Dubravka. Let's take a look at what my current transfer thinking is. Okay, so like I mentioned, I've got 3 million in the bank and 1 free transfer to use. I'm currently torn between which defender I'm going to sell, though. I think logic would dictate that I sell the suspended player, SENESI, who obviously can't play against Everton. That's one of the better fixtures in the next 4. And again, he has been really annoying to own. He's not been worth the money recently. He has been good on DEFCON. The underlying attacking data isn't bad, but the points just have not been there. So maybe this is just a bit of a blessing in disguise to get rid of him now and get to literally any other defender in the game, because I've got 3 million in the bank. I can upgrade him to anyone and still have quite a lot of money left over for future moves as well, by the way. So it's very tempting to get rid of him, because either way, I can't play him this week. However, I do also have the option of not selling SENESI, benching him for this week, and then I will have him back for Chelsea, Man United, and then Burnley, and the fixtures do continue on after that. And like I said, the underlying attacking data isn't bad, and he is very good on DEFCONs as well. So as frustrating as he's been, I wonder if there's a way that I could bench him, hold on to him for a little bit longer, and then the fixtures do turn good again. That being said, out of the two right now, I think SENESI makes the more sense to sell, especially because I think I'm going to need that bench depth this game week. Rodon is also a player that is on the chopping block, and if SENESI wasn't suspended, it would be pretty easy for me to just get rid of Rodon, upgrade him to, again, any defender in the game, because I've got the money to get up to 7 million. No defender is 7 million. So that would be absolutely fine. And his fixtures are terrible. Chelsea, Liverpool, Brentford, Crystal Palace. I don't back them for clean sheets in any of those fixtures. He's not as good on DEFCON as SENESI, and the attacking data isn't as good as SENESI's. And defensively, however bad Bournemouth have been, the defensive data from Leeds has also dropped off. And if anything, I'd prefer the Bournemouth defence over the Leeds defence for the longer term. However, he is cheaper. So maybe there's an argument that saving the money there by selling SENESI rather than Rodon would give me at least another 2 million to spend elsewhere, even if I upgraded SENESI to the most expensive of my replacement options. And again, it does give me an extra player on my bench for this game week. And that would be really helpful because as much as I like my team this week, would I be massively surprised to see Timber rotated out, or maybe worst case scenario, Saka misses a match? It would be, I guess, surprising, but I wouldn't be completely stunned if that were to happen, given it's a midweek fixture. So I just want to prepare for the worst. So Rodon might stay because of the SENESI suspension. Hopefully nothing else goes wrong with my team, by the way. If that does happen, then I definitely need to get rid of SENESI rather than Rodon because I'll need that bench depth. And maybe Rodon ends up starting at home to Chelsea in my team because of other injuries that occur on Sunday as well. But at time of recording, I think SENESI's probably the man that needs to go to give me that extra bit of bench depth and a bit more money to spend on other moves in future game weeks. Okay, so moving on to the different options I've got to replace either SENESI or Rodon. And, well, the world's my oyster. I can literally get any defender in the game quite comfortably as well because I've got the 3 million in the bank, and I definitely do need to make a defensive move. The question is, who am I going to go for? And I really wish I could say with any conviction that I've got a really strong preference at this point in time. I just sadly don't. I hope one of you can possibly help me out on this one as well. I think right now my gut would say I do really want Daniel Munoz. The only problem is he's on 4 yellows. By the time game week 13 is over, he could be on 5 yellows, a bit like SENESI, and I can't pick him anyway. But that Burnley fixture is very tempting. And as much as I don't love the next few fixtures, Fulham away, Man City at home, Leeds away, I don't think they're bad. I think that's okay as a little cluster if he does also start the Burnley game. So I think if it wasn't for the 4 yellows, I'd probably just go with Munoz and go double Palace defense. They've been pretty sturdy at the back. His attacking numbers are very, very strong. So I think if all things were equal and he didn't have the 4 yellows, then Munoz would be the pick. But because of the 4 yellows and because he could end up being suspended for game week 14 anyway, I have to look elsewhere. So no one's going to like it, but I am still considering Virgil van Dijk. Liverpool have been horrendous defensively. Let's see how they get on against West Ham. I think another poor performance defensively, at least from them tomorrow, and that would put me off of him altogether. But I still must admit, the fixtures are looking good. He's got decent goal threat from set pieces. He's very good on the DEFCON, and teams are lumping it up to them at the moment. So he is just getting DEFCON for fun most weeks. So again, because I've got the money, people will hate it, but he is in my consideration. At the same price, though, I could just double up on the Arsenal defence, which is never going to be a bad play. They've got Brentford followed by Aston Villa, which is a red fixture on the ticker, but I would say that's okay for Arsenal. Wolves at home, Everton away, and the fixtures continue after that. Maybe the easy answer is just go back to double Arsenal defence. I've got Timber alongside Saliba. Saliba is usually very, very solid for minutes. And maybe he'll get a bit more attacking threat whilst Gabriel's out of the side as well. So again, another player that is well within my consideration set. Then I've got a few of the cheaper options. So Thiaw and O'Reilly, both impressive so far, at least in game week 13. I'm recording this during the Newcastle game, and Thiaw has scored after the first minute from a corner. So that those attacking numbers are probably going to rise after this recording is over. But again, I wanted to get this out to you as quickly as possible. But the fixtures are looking good. Spurs away. Spurs attacking wise have not been great recently, followed by Burnley, Sunderland, Chelsea, but it's home. Thiaw's been getting phenomenal minutes. The underlying defensive data for Newcastle, not bad. And if Nick Pope is out, then having at least some Newcastle defensive coverage might not be a bad idea. He's also only 4.9 million. So again, it gives me plenty of money to spend in future game weeks, especially if I sell SENESI. I'll have 3 million left to spend still. So he is very tempting, as is O'Reilly, by the way. Again, another brilliant attacking performance from him and gets good minutes yet again for Man City. So I think my main doubt over him has always been, well, will he continue to start? But he continues to keep starting week on week. And you saw it in the Champions League. He was on the bench, rested, and then they brought him on to try and save the game. So he's undoubtedly one of Pep's preferred starting 11 right now. I guess the one hesitation I have for this particular game week as a buy is, does he definitely start the midweek after playing on the Saturday previous and getting 45 minutes in the midweek, which they would have probably hoped that he wouldn't have to play the week before. And then of course they've got Sunderland the weekend after this one as well in game week 15. So the attacking data is great. I love him as a player. I think he's phenomenal. And that City defense, although they did concede twice against Leeds, has been decent enough this season. It is tempting. Gvardiol is also maybe in my thinking, probably a little bit generous to put him on this graphic, to be honest. I wanted to put a sixth person on. And of course, historically very good on the attacking data. He's playing more of a withdrawn role. In fact, O'Reilly has kind of taken up that role from Gvardiol this season. So I think out of the two, Gvardiol might be a little bit more secure on minutes, but I think given the price difference and the attacking upside for O'Reilly, I do prefer O'Reilly. Maybe I can be convinced. Maybe I'm just underestimating how nailed he is into that side, because if I am and I don't go for him and he keeps starting games, I think it's going to keep punishing me. And he's just so good. Like, he will be, I imagine, England's starting left back very, very soon, consistently. He's just such a good player. 0.29 XGI per 90 in a very attacking City side who do also keep the odd clean sheet. If I was to be really hypercritical, he's not good on DEFCON, but that's about it. And then, yeah, the minutes are the thing that I really need to decide on. But right now, I think I'm going to probably mentally rule out Munoz, because I do wonder whether he gets that 5th yellow card this week. And to be fair, even if he doesn't, it's going to be an ongoing concern for me. And I do need a robust 15 or at least 14 with Gio to make sure that I survive the next few weeks, given there are lots of very quick turnarounds. So maybe someone like a Thiaw, who again, 90-minute man week on week, he does look absolutely not locked into that Newcastle starting 11 now. Saliba and Van Dijk both locked in as well. Maybe I save the money and go Thiaw. Maybe that's a play. But all of those are in my consideration set. I'm sorry that I don't have a really strong conviction on any singular player here, but again, let me know in the comments below if you do, or if you've got a really strong preference here. And yeah, your help would be appreciated on this one. Really sorry that I can't be more definitive, but of course I will be back with another video in the next couple of days, probably on the Monday, where hopefully I'll have a bit more conviction on which defender I'm going to pick. And who knows, maybe there are other injuries, other suspensions, there might be other things that I know after the Sunday games have been and gone that will maybe swing me one way or the other, or maybe give me other priorities to use my transfer on, or maybe, who knows, possibly even a hit might be on the cards if loads of things go wrong. But either way, and Anderson on my bench against Man City at home, Rodon against Chelsea, they might end up getting used, which wouldn't be ideal, but it's one game week. I don't want to overly fixate on having the perfect 11 every single game week, especially when those players can get DEFCON. So I don't think the floor's too bad. Anyway, bit rambly at the end there. Hopefully that all makes sense, and hopefully you've enjoyed today's video. I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a like, and importantly, hit subscribe. And once again, thank you so much for being a part of the journey. If you have already hit subscribe, 5K, I'm absolutely loving this channel so far. Hopefully you are too, and I really appreciate all of the support. I'll see you in a couple of days with my team selection ahead of Tuesday.